morning my dear students. Welcome to today's biology class. So the topic which we are going to do is plant hormone, and we'll be continuing with the same chapter, that is control and coordination. So let us first recall what we have done in the previous class. So in the previous class we have learned that plants have two types of movements, tropic movement and nestic movement. There are 5 types of tropic movement: phototropism, geotropism, hydrotropism, chemotropism and thigmotropism. Phototropism is the movement of plants in response to light. Geotropism is the movement of plants in response to gravity. Hydrotropism is movement of plant in response to water. Chemotropism is the movement of plant in response to chemical, and thigmotropism is the movement of plant in response to touch. Apart from the tropic movement, there is another movement called the nestic movement. Nestic movement in plants also occur due to stimulus. That means they respond to stimulus but they do not follow any specific direction. But on the other hand, the tropic movement follow a particular direction. That means they move towards or away from the stimuli. Now let us look at the objective of today's class. So after today's class you will be able to study and understand about the plant hormone and the functions of the plant hormone, which is also called phytohormones. Now children, here I would like to say important thing, that in between the video I'll be giving 2 questions. That means the question may appear in any point of the video. So you need to watch the whole video very carefully and you have to find out the question, and then you have to write down the answers to those questions in the copy, and this will be your classwork. So you have to write down the answer and you have to submit it to me today itself. Yes? Plants do not have any specialized tissues like the nervous tissues as it is found in animals. Animals have nervous system with the help of which they transmit information from one part of the body to another. Apart from the nervous system, animal body also have the endocrine system, which has glands to secrete hormones. So with the help of these hormones, which is a chemical substance, information are transmitted from one part of the body to another. Similarly, in plants, the plants also produce some chemicals which are called hormones or phytohormones. Now, plants need sunlight, water, minerals, nutrients for their growth and development, and these are all external factors. But there is another factor which helps in the growth and development of the plant, which is the intrinsic factor, and this intrinsic factor is the production of hormones. So the hormones play a very important role in phototropism, seed germination, dormancy, cell division, abscission and many other different activities which is going on in the plant body. So depending on the actions of the hormones, the plant hormone is categorized into 2 categories, that is plant growth promoters and plant growth inhibitors. Fine? Plant growth promoters and plant growth inhibitors are the 2 categories of the hormone which is produced by the plant, and the hormone which is produced by the plant is in very little amount. Fine? Okay. Now the growth promoters which are produced by the plants are auxins, gibberellins and cytokinins. Growth inhibitor is the abscisic acid, and the growth promoter and inhibitor, that means ethylene, is helpful in promoting and inhibiting of the growth of the plant. Since you have understood why plant hormones are important, and what is the role of plant hormone? How does it coordinate and controls the activity of the plant? Now let us study in detail about the hormone produced by the plants. Okay, so the plants produce both growth promoter and growth inhibitor. So the growth promoters produced by the plants are auxin, gibberellin and cytokinin. Right? Now, auxin is usually produced in the apices of the shoot and the root. That means the tips of the shoots and the roots, and it helps in the growth of the plants. That means growing of the cells. Right? Now, IAA, indole 3-acetic acid, is a naturally occurring auxin in plant. Apart from naturally occurring auxin, there are synthetic auxin also. One example is 2,4-D. 2,4-D dichlorophenoxyacetic acid. Fine? Okay. Now, let us understand the function of auxin. The main function of auxin is to help in the growth of the plant. Fine. Apart from that, there are many other functions of auxin also. So, it helps in cell elongations of the stems and roots. Okay. Then it helps in apical dominance. Now, what is apical dominance? Now, look at this plant. You'll find this is the tip of the plant. Yes. So, this is called the apices, and the sides are called the lateral. Fine. Okay. Now, you'll find that the bud which is growing in the apices of this plant is growing and developing, and as a result of it, the bud which is growing in the lateral part of the plant is not developing and growing. That means the apices or the apical bud is not allowing the lateral bud to grow and develop, and this is called apical dominance. Fine. So here I have drawn a diagram also. So this is the apical bud and this is the lateral bud. So due to the production of auxin, yes, apical dominancy or apical dominance is seen in the plant. Fine. Auxin, apart from apical dominance, it also induces parthenocarpy. Parthenocarpy means the production of the fruits without fertilization. So, auxin helps or induces parthenocarpy also. Right? It prevents premature fall of leaves, flowers and fruits also. Premature means leaves, flowers and fruits of course fall when they are mature. When the leaves becomes yellow or the flower dries up, it falls on its own, or the fruit when it ripes, it falls on its own. But sometimes it is seen that the green leaves and the premature flowers or the fruits which are not ripe, they fall before time. Yes, so that is called premature falling. Right? So auxin prevents the premature fall of leaves, flowers and fruits. Now let us understand how auxin works. Phototropism is a process in which the tip of the plant moves towards the sunlight. Yes, okay, we have already studied that. Fine. Now you will see that this plant is not straight. It is little bit bent. Fine. Now what happens is auxin is formed in the tips of the shoots. Okay. And when the sunlight falls on the plant, the auxin moves towards the shady part. It moves away from the sunlight. So when it moves away from the sunlight, the auxin starts to promote the growth of the cells of that side of the plant. And as a result of the growth of that side of the plant, you'll find that the stem is bending towards the sunlight. That means, as I have mentioned earlier, that the role of hormone is to help in phototropism also. So this is how phototropic movement in plants takes place with the help of auxin. Fine. Now let's move ahead to the next growth promoter in plant, that is gibberellin. Right. So gibberellin is a hormone produced by the plant, and there are more than hundreds of gibberellin produced by plants. For example, GA1, GA2, in this way the names are given. And the main function of gibberellin is to help in elongation of the stem. Apart from that, it also promotes bolting. Bolting means the elongation of the internode. All of you have seen sugarcane, fine? So it's the we eat the stem part of the sugarcane, and you will see that the stem is having some lines, fine? So these points are called nodes. Remember, you learned this in class 9. Yes, so these points are called nodes, and the part which is in between the two nodes is called internode. Fine. So the part which is between two nodes is called the internode, and gibberellin helps in the elongation of the internode, and as a result the plant keeps on elongating. Fine. Okay. It also delays senescence. Senescence means the aging of the parts of the plant. So the gibberellin helps in delaying the aging of the parts of the plant. Fine. Apart from that, it also breaks seed dormancy. What is seed dormancy? When seeds are not able to germinate even after the required condition is provided to the seeds, is called seed dormancy. And gibberellin helps in breaking seed dormancy. It helps the seed to grow into a seedling after germination. Fine. So this is the function of gibberellin. Next we go to the third growth promoter in plant, that is cytokinin. So cytokinin main function is cell division. It helps in the division of cells. Apart from that, it also promotes lateral growth. Remember that auxin helps in apical dominance, growth of the apices of the plant, and the cytokinin helps in growth of the lateral sides of the plant or the lateral parts of the plant. So promotes lateral growth. It delays leaf senescence. Senescence, already I mentioned that it is the aging of the different parts of the plant. So cytokinin specifically will delay the leaf senescence. Okay. Then it also helps in the formation of chloroplast in leaves, which helps in the process of photosynthesis. The first question is, how do auxin promotes growth? So I have already explained how auxin helps in the growth of the plant. Why does the plant bend towards the light? Yes, so you need to write down the answer to this question. Now, since you have understood the function and the role of the growth promoters in plant, that is auxin, gibberellin and cytokinin, let us now move on to the next hormone present in the plant. Right? So, abscisic acid is a hormone which does not promote growth, but it inhibits growth in plants. Yes, so it is a growth inhibitor. It inhibits plant metabolism. Inhibits means stops, fine. Then regulates abscission and dormancy. Abscission means the detachment of the leaves, fruits naturally from the plant. Yes, so it regulates abscission and dormancy. That means whether the seed needs to germinate or it does not need to germinate. So that's what it regulates, the dormancy. Fine. It also induces abscission in leaves and fruits. That means it induces the detachment of the leaves and the fruits from the plant. Fine. It is an inhibitor and it inhibits the other hormonal action. That means the action of the auxin, gibberellin and cytokinin is inhibited by the abscisic acid. That means it works as antagonist to those hormones. Yes, it works in oppositely to those hormones. It also induces senescence in leaves. That means the growth hormones, what they prevent or delays senescence in leaf, means aging in leaves and the other parts of the plant, but abscisic acid will induce in senescence in leaves. Then it also stimulates the closure of stomata so that transpiration cannot take place. Fine. So this is the this hormone is a growth inhibitor. Okay. Now ethylene is both growth promoter and growth inhibitor. Fine. So it is found in gaseous form and it synthesized in ripening fruits. Yes. It fastens or hastens ripening of fruit. Okay. It helps in hastening or it hastens ripening of fruits. Fine. It also breaks seed and bud dormancy. It helps in the germination of seeds and also it helps the buds to bloom into a flower. Fine. So this is what we have for today's class, and I hope that you have understood about the control and coordination that takes place in plants with the help of hormones. Now let us summarize what we have learned today. The chemical coordination in plants takes place by hormones. Plants also produce hormones like animals and the hormones are called phytohormone. Plants produce hormone that promotes growth such as auxin, gibberellin and cytokinin, and hormones that inhibits growth such as abscisic acid. Auxin is produced in the tips of stems and roots which help in the growth of stem and root. Gibberellin helps in the growth of the stems and leaves. Cytokinin helps in cell division and differentiation, and abscisic acid controls transpiration and dormancy. So this is all for today's class. But before that, let us look at this question. That means I told that I'll be giving 2 questions. So this is the second question. How is the function of the hormones abscisic acid and cytokinin different? So you need to differentiate between the functions of abscisic acid and cytokinin.